By the galaxy, this human ship obliterated a battle group, HFY Sci-Fi stories. The galaxy sneered when the United Earth Pact unveiled the HSS Reliant. They called it a scrap heap, a cosmic embarrassment. No photon lances, no quantum shields, no sleek curves like the Tazran Dominion's Warclaws or the Vorskon's shadow cruisers. Just a blocky, scarred hulk of recycled freighters and mining rigs, bolted together with spit and spite, looking like it would crumple under a stiff breeze. Captain Zara Cole didn't give a damn about their laughter. She wasn't a fleet poster child, groomed in Luna's polished academies or born into Earth's elite. Zara was a salvage rat from Io's shipyards, where you learned to build miracles from rust and desperation. She'd outrun slavers in the belt, rebuilt reactors with wire and curses, and survived the Callisto riots when the domes cracked. The Reliant was her kind of ship, ugly, stubborn, and built to fight dirty. The Pact had no love for the Reliant. Earth's high-tech fleets, packed with neural link targeting and iron-plated hulls, were being shredded by the Tazran Dominion's relentless assaults. Colonies burned, Mars glassed, Venus choked in ash. Zara saw what the admirals missed. Fancy tech broke when you hit it hard enough. The Reliant was a beast, its frame a patchwork of pre-packed freighters, reinforced with crude ablative plating that could take a beating and keep swinging. Its heart was a scavenged Tazran device, a nullifier array, ripped from a downed scout during the Fringe Wars. Earth's engineers couldn't crack it. The thing was too alien, too volatile. It hummed with unstable energy, flickering like a caged storm. Once it fried a test bay's grid in seconds, nearly taking out half a research team. Zara pushed to install it anyway. Let it be wild, she'd told her crew. Wild wins fights. Command let her have it, mostly because no one else wanted the Reliant or its crew of misfits. When the Tazran invaded, they didn't even ping the Reliant on their scans. Stationed at a derelict comm relay in the Oort cloud, it was guarding a forgotten outpost of no strategic value. Earth's core worlds were crumbling, Luna's docks in flames, orbitals reduced to glowing debris. The Pact's desperate order went out, all ships to Sol's inner ring for a final stand. The Reliant wasn't called. It was an afterthought, a joke. Zara didn't wait for permission. Earth was her home, and she'd be damned if it fell without a fight. She stood in the Reliant's cramped mess hall, facing her crew of 184, ex-smugglers, washed-up miners, and green recruits barely out of Sims. Earth's dying, she said, voice rough as gravel. The Tazran aren't just winning, they're erasing us. We can run to the fringes, live like rats, or we can hit back. Your choice. She paused, scanning their faces. No one moved. Every hand went up, even the rookies trembling in their boots. All right, Zara said, a flicker of a grin breaking through. Let's make 'em regret laughing. They stripped the Reliant to its bones, rerouting power from non-essentials to the nullifier array and a handful of jury-rigged railguns. The ship groaned under the strain, conduits sparking, panels rattling like an old dog shaking off dust. But it held. Zara wasn't here for glory. She was here to make the Tazran bleed. The Reliant warped into Sol's battle zone, dropping out amid a burning graveyard. Earth's fleet was in tatters, frigates split open, cruisers leaking plasma. Tazran warclaws moved like predators, their sleek hulls glinting as their graviton beams carved through packed shields like a hot knife through butter. The Reliant lumbered in, its patchwork hull a stark contrast to the chaos. The Tazran ignored it. Their scanners tagged the Reliant as obsolete non-combatant, no threat worth their time. Zara strapped into her captain's chair, the worn leather creaking under her weight. Time to change their minds, she said, glancing at her tactical officer, Lieutenant Milo Rex. A former hacker from Europa, Milo had a grin sharper than his code and a knack for breaking systems, human or alien. Prep the nullifier pulse, Milo. Let's wake 'em up. The nullifier pulse wasn't in any Pact manual. It was Zara's gamble, cooked up with Vera Cade, a rogue engineer who'd been blacklisted for creative modifications to Pact tech. They'd hacked the Tazran array to overload, turning its shield-breaking tech into a system killer. The Reliant's hull rattled as the array spun up, its alien core pulsing like a trapped star, sending tremors through the deck. "Ready," Milo said, fingers hovering over his cracked console. "This is gonna hurt, us or them." Zara's eyes narrowed. "Fire!" The array unleashed, not a beam or a missile, but a wave of raw chaos. Electromagnetic distortion laced with gravitic spikes rippled out, invisible but vicious. It hit the Tazran fleet like a tsunami, shredding their shields, frying reactors, and twisting their war claws into crumpled husks. 32 ships imploded in 53 seconds, silent explosions blooming in the void like dying stars. From Earth's surface, survivors looked up through cracked domes, expecting death. Instead, they saw salvation. The Tazran fleet was gone, reduced to drifting scrap. The Reliant floated amid the wreckage, its hull scorched but whole, sparks dancing across its patched plating. Zara wiped sweat from her brow, her voice low. "Guess we're not a joke now." The battlefield went quiet. No comms chatter, no alarms. Just the eerie stillness of a graveyard in space. Earth's remaining ships, battered frigates, limping cruisers, couldn't process it. The Reliant, that floating scrap heap, had just erased a Tazran battle group. On the bridge, red emergency lights flickered as the ship groaned from the pulse's strain, conduits hissing like an angry beast. "Status?" Zara asked, turning to Milo. His console sparked, but he flashed a grin. "Hull's at 78%. Array's cooling, but it's pissed off. Overheating 3 sectors. 1 casualty, Tech Born, caught a power surge in engineering. Dr. Finn's got him in medbay. He'll pull through." The crew was tense, half expecting another wave. They'd been ready to die, not to win like gods. The comm crackled, sharp and urgent. "HSS Dauntless, Admiral Rao speaking. Cole, what the hell was that?" Zara leaned into the mic, her voice steady. "Took out the Tazrans, sir. They're scrap." Rao's face flickered on the main screen, blood streaking his cheek, his eyes wide with shock. "You turned a decommissioned freighter into a fleet killer. How?" Zara shrugged. "Hacked alien tech in a bad attitude, sir." Rao's jaw tightened. "The pack's gonna want your head for this, Cole." "Let 'em try," Zara shot back, her tone dry as dust. She ordered salvage operations, scavenged Tazran tech, scanned for life pods, anything that could give them an edge. The Reliant limped along, its systems whining but holding, like a boxer too stubborn to fall. Zara headed to the observation deck, a cramped dome of scratched, reinforced glass overlooking the void. Outside, Tazran wrecks spun in slow motion, their sleek hulls now mangled husks, glinting in the faint light of Sol. Milo joined her, arms crossed, his usual smirk subdued. "Comms are buzzing, Captain. They're calling it a miracle down there." Zara snorted, her breath fogging the glass. "It's not a miracle. It's us being too pissed to quit." The nullifier array's hum echoed below, unsteady but alive, like a beast catching its breath. "You think they'll let us keep it?" Milo asked, nodding toward the deck where the array sat. Zara's eyes narrowed. "Pact'll try to take it. Tazran will come for revenge. We're a target now." She didn't trust the array. Not fully. It was too powerful, too alien. But she trusted what it could do, what her crew could do with it. "They'll come for us," she said. "Both sides." Back on the bridge, a priority signal from Pact Command demanded a debrief. Zara ignored it, her focus on repairs and scans for Tazran stragglers. She wasn't here for politics or medals. She was here to keep Earth alive. The Tazran weren't done. This was a skirmish, not the war's end. The galaxy was watching now, and she felt the weight of their eyes. 3 days later, Pact inspectors swarmed the Reliant like roaches. 20 of them, suits with clean uniforms and cleaner agendas, poked at the array, muttered about budgets, and treated the ship like a prize they'd won in a raffle. Zara watched from the engine bay catwalk, her jaw tight, hands gripping the railing. Below, the nullifier array pulsed, its low hum making the inspectors flinch like they'd heard a growl. Vera Cade, the engineer who'd rigged the pulse, leaned in beside Zara, her jumpsuit stained with coolant. "Want me to accidentally fry their fancy tablets?" she whispered, a glint in her eye. Zara snorted, the first real laugh she'd had in days. Tempting. How many are on board? 20, Vera said. 10 pack brass, 10 corporate vultures, with clearance from on high. Zara's eyes narrowed. They don't own this ship. We do. That night, a black-level transmission hit Zara's tablet, the encryption code reserved for admirals. Admiral Rao's face appeared, grim and tired, a fresh scar across his brow. Cole, you're ordered to Terra Prime for a full inquiry. In person. Leave now. Zara leaned back in her chair, the metal creaking. Why, sir? They've already got their dogs sniffing my ship. Rao's voice was low. You embarrass the brass, Cole. They called the Reliant a liability, a junk project. Now it's a legend, and they hate legends they didn't build. They want that array, and they'll strip your ship to get it. Zara's gut twisted, but her voice stayed cold. They tried taking it. They'll regret it. Rao sighed, his eyes heavy. You're a hero, Cole. Heroes don't last long in this game. The next morning, Zara boarded a shuttle to Terra Prime. The pack's central hub was a fortress of glass spires and polished marble, designed to make you feel like an insect. They marched her through sterile corridors into a circular chamber, its domed ceiling etched with the pack's seal. Around a polished table sat 12 figures, admirals, scientists, and a sharp-eyed woman in a silver coat, pack's security chief, Lyra Vec. Captain Cole, Vec said, her voice like a blade on ice. Explain the nullifier pulse. Zara didn't flinch. She stood tall, her worn jacket a stark contrast to the room's polish. Earth's fleet was dying. Tazran warclaws were tearing through Sol. We hacked a scavenged Tazran device no one else trusted, turned it into a weapon, and used it. Saved your colonies. That's it. The room went silent, the admiral shifting uncomfortably. An admiral, his metals gleaming, cleared his throat. Your actions have escalated the war, Captain. The Tazran will retaliate harder now, and we're not prepared. Zara's eyes flashed, her voice cutting. They were already glassing our world, sir. What's worse than that? Vec leaned forward, her smile thin as a wire. You've made the Reliant a target. We need that array for study, for replication. It will be removed. No, Zara said, her voice flat but firm. The array stays with my ship, my crew, until this war's over. Vec's eyes narrowed. That's not your call, Captain. It is, Zara shot back, stepping closer to the table. Until you relieve me of command, the Reliant's mine. That array saved Sol, saved your precious hub. You want to study it? Send your text, but it doesn't leave my ship. The room froze, tension crackling like static. Vec's smile tightened, her voice low. You're playing a dangerous game, Cole. Zara didn't blink. Good, I'm good at those. An admiral coughed, breaking the silence. We'll need full diagnostics, logs, and access to the array immediately. Zara nodded, but her mind was already elsewhere. She knew what was coming. Packed vultures circling, Tazran lurking. The fight wasn't over. Back on the Reliant, Zara found Vyra waiting in her quarters, a data chip in her hand. How bad? Vera asked, her voice low. Zara sat heavily on her bunk. They want to gut the ship, turn it into a lab experiment. They'll take the array, maybe the Reliant itself. Vera's jaw tightened. They don't get it. They never will. She handed Zara the chip. Scans caught something weird. Tazran probe just sitting out there in the Kuiper Belt. Not scanning, not moving, just watching. Zara frowned, slotting the chip into her tablet. The probe's image flickered up, small, sleek, and alone, like a predator waiting for prey. Waiting for us? She asked. Vera nodded, her eyes dark. Feels like it. It's been there since the battle, silent as death. Zara stared at the screen, her gut telling her this was no ordinary scout. They're not done with us, she said. Not by a long shot. She headed to the bridge, the crew snapping to attention as she entered. The air was thick with unease, the kind that settles in before a storm. Zara opened a comm channel to the probe, her voice steady but sharp. This is Captain Zara Cole, HSS Reliant. You're here for a reason. Speak or we'll make you. Silence stretched. 10 minutes, then 20, the crew holding their breath. Finally, the main screen flickered. No face, just a grid of pulsing blue static and a synthetic voice, cold and layered, like it was speaking through a filter of ice. You wield what you cannot own. Zara's eyes narrowed. Explain. The voice hissed, low and deliberate. The array is not a weapon. It is a key, a signal to the Vorskin. You were not meant to use it. You left it in a wreck, Zara said, her tone sharp. We claimed it. Finders keepers. The voice paused, as if weighing her words. Not left, placed, hidden for a purpose you cannot comprehend. Zara leaned forward, her voice like steel. Then take it back. Silence, heavy and wrong. We cannot, the voice said, not without shattering your system to ash. The transmission cut out, leaving the bridge in dead silence. Milo broke it, his voice low. What the hell was that, Captain? Zara's jaw tightened, her mind racing. Trouble. Big trouble. She turned to Vera, who was already tapping at her console, her face pale. That pulse we fired, it sent a signal, didn't it? Vera nodded, pulling up a star chart. Subspace, encrypted, headed to a dead zone in the Perseus arm. Something's out there, listening. Zara's blood ran cold. Show me. Vera zoomed in on the chart, highlighting a sector with no stars, no planets. Just a gravitational anomaly. It's a structure. Massive. Older than anything we've seen. That's where the signal went. Zara stood, her decision made. Then we go find it. Prep the Reliant for silent running. We're going dark. The Reliant slipped into uncharted space, its transponders off, its systems muted. Stars faded, the void growing heavy, like it was holding its breath. For days they drifted in silence. No pings, no outgoing comms. The crew felt it. Something off. Whispers in the dark. Systems flickering without cause. The nullifier array's hum had changed. No longer erratic, but steady, like it was thinking. Zara clutched a Tazran crystal salvaged from the battlefield, its faint warmth pulsing in her hand. It's talking to the ship, she muttered, standing alone in her quarters. The crystal, small and jagged, seemed to hum in sync with the array, like it knew something she didn't. She didn't trust it, but she couldn't ignore it either. Vera burst onto the bridge, her eyes wild with adrenaline. I found it, Captain. A gravity well. No stars, no planets. Just a pull. Something artificial, kilometers wide. Zara nodded, her pulse quickening. Take us in. The Reliant reached the sector, and the stars vanished. Not dimmed, gone. The void felt wrong, like it was hiding something that didn't want to be found. Then it appeared. Not a ship, not a station, but a lattice. A shattered web of black metal orbiting an invisible mass. It was ancient, its jagged edges glinting faintly, like the ruins of a god's skeleton. The Reliant systems flickered, consoles sparking as the nullifier array sang, not with sound, but with intent. Alien symbols flooded the screens, sharp and cold, cascading like a warning. 1654. A voice spoke, not through speakers, but in their minds, low and resonant, like a tide rolling over stone. You have come. Zara's heart pounded, her hand tightening on the crystal. What are you? She demanded, stepping toward the main screen. The voice answered, calm but heavy. We are the Vorskin. The array is our fragment, a seat of control. You woke it. The ship shook, its hull groaning as systems came online unbidden. Graviton claws, plasma vents, weapons no human had built. It's evolving, Vera said, her voice a mix of awe and fear, her fingers trembling over her console. The voice continued, unyielding. You were forged as our tools, to fight, to die in our wars. You carry our purpose. Zara stepped forward, her voice cutting through the bridge. We're not your pawns. We're human. We choose our fights. The voice paused, as if considering her defiance. You were made to sharpen each other, you and the Tazran. Your survival proves your worth. Zara's blood ran hot. You made us? The Tazran too? Yes, the voice said, to hone you in conflict. A new signal blipped on the tactical screen. 40 Tazran warclaws emerging from folded space, their hulls glinting like blades. They closed in, encircling the Reliant in a perfect pincer. Zara didn't hesitate. Battle stations! The crew snapped into action, the bridge alive with motion. The Reliant glowed, its hull pulsing with new power as the array reshaped it, weapons unfolding like a beast waking from a long sleep. The Tazran fired first, graviton beams lancing through the void, slamming into the Reliant's shields. The ship shuddered, alarms blaring, but held. Then it struck back. The new weapons, born of the array's evolution, didn't just fire, they broke reality. Warclaws crumpled, their hulls folding inward like crushed cans. Others dissolved into static, their systems eaten by invisible energy. The Tazran broke formation, retreating in panic, their sleek ships scattering like frightened prey. The voice spoke again, its tone unchanged. You are not theirs. You are ours. The war is yours. Zara staggered, her mind reeling. You engineered us, pitted us against each other like dogs in a pit. Yes, it said, to forge strength through suffering. A new signal appeared. A Vorskan vessel, vast and dark, rising from the lattice like a mountain carved from shadow. It didn't attack, didn't move. It just watched, its presence heavy, like a judge awaiting a verdict. Milo's voice was tight. Why now, Captain? Why show itself? Zara's eyes narrowed. Because we proved ourselves. We're not just tools anymore. That night, Zara stood on the observation deck, staring at the Vorskan ship through reinforced glass. Its hull was blacker than the void, absorbing light like a wound in space. Milo joined her, his usual smirk gone. We're not free, are we? He asked. Zara's voice was soft but firm. Not yet. We're their experiment, built to fight their wars. But experiments can go wrong. Then we break the cage, sir, Milo said, his eyes hard. Zara nodded, her jaw set. We destroy the array, end their game. She called an emergency meeting in the hangar bay, the crew gathering around the nullifier array, now sealed in a magnetic pod. Its hum was quieter now, but still alive, like a beast waiting to be unleashed again. Zara stood on a crate, facing her crew, engineers, medics, gunners, all worn but unbroken. This thing, she said, nodding at the pod, wasn't our salvation. It was a leash built to control us, to keep us fighting for someone else's war. We're cutting it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, but no one objected. They'd seen what the array could do, what it meant. Dr. Ilara Finn, the crew's medic with a past she didn't talk about, stepped forward. What about the pact? They'll hunt us if we do this. Zara met her gaze. Let them. We're not their pawns either. The crew nodded, a quiet resolve settling over them. They'd followed Zara into hell. They'd follow her out. The Reliant warped to a neutron star 2 sectors away, a dead dwarf with a gravity well deep enough to swallow secrets. They launched the pod, watching it drift toward the star's heart. Vera keyed the detonation sequence, her hands steady. Now, Zara said. The pod ignited, a silent flash in the void. The array was gone, its signals snuffed out forever. The Reliant shuddered, not from damage, but from relief. Its systems sighed, lights dimming like a breath let go. The Vorskan ship vanished from sensors, as if it had never been. Back in known space, the Pact's fleet waited, 6 flagships, armed to the teeth, demanding surrender. Zara stood on the bridge, arms crossed, a tired smile on her face. Open a channel, she told Milo. He hesitated. You sure, Captain? Yeah, she said. Do it. The transmission crackled. This is Captain Zara Cole, HSS Reliant. We're surrendering the ship. Come take it. The crew went silent, eyes wide. Zara turned to them. We're not giving them us. Get to the pods. Scatter. Live. They abandoned ship, 184 souls slipping into escape transports, scattering to safe havens across the fringes. Zara stayed until the last pod launched, standing alone on the bridge. The Pact's boarding crafts docked, finding only an empty husk, consoles blank, Systems wiped. The array gone. The Reliant was a ghost again, just as they'd always thought. 6 months later, a woman in a hooded jacket traded spare parts for water on a mining moon in unclaimed space. She gave no name, her eyes sharp under the hood. The galaxy buzzed with stories of the Reliant's miracle, but she didn't care. She'd heard a new hum, faint and distant, buried in the void. The fight wasn't over. The galaxy had mocked humanity once. It wouldn't again. The HSS Reliant hung in the shadow of the Vorscon lattice, a jagged web of black metal stretching kilometers across the void. No stars, no light, just the structure's faint glint, like a predator's eye catching moonlight. Captain Zara Cole stood on the bridge, the Tazrin crystal warm in her pocket, its pulse syncing with the nullifier array's hum below. The crew was quiet, their faces lit by flickering consoles. They'd come for answers, but the silence felt like a trap. "Scans?" Zara asked, her voice cutting through the tension. Lieutenant Milo Rex, tactical officer and ex-hacker, tapped his cracked console, his usual smirk gone. "Nothing solid, Captain. The lattice is absorbing our signals. It's like it's eating them." Vera Cade, the rogue engineer who'd rigged the nullifier pulse, scowled at her own screen. "It's not just that. The array's acting weird, cycling power without my input. It's talking to this thing." Zara's jaw tightened. The nullifier array that scavenged Tazrin tech had saved Saul, but it was more than a weapon. The Tazrin probe's words echoed in her mind. A key, a signal to the Vorscon. Now here they were, face to face with a structure older than humanity, claiming they were its tools. "Then we go in," Zara said. "Get a shuttle ready. Milo, Vera, Ilara, you're with me. We're not waiting for it to invite us." Dr. Ilara Finn, the crew's medic, looked up from her station, her dark eyes sharp. "You sure about this, Captain? That thing's giving off enough radiation to cook us slow." Zara met her gaze. "We didn't come this far to sit and wonder. Suit up." Ilara nodded, her expression unreadable. She'd seen worse than radiation in her past, things she didn't talk about. But she was steady, the kind of steady that kept the crew grounded. The bridge crew exchanged glances, hands tightening on consoles. The Reliant's patchwork hull groaned as it adjusted position, edging closer to the lattice. The ship felt alive, its systems humming in sync with the array, like a dog straining at its leash. Zara didn't trust it, not after the Vorscon's voice had spoken in their heads. "You were forged as our tools." Her fist clenched. Nobody forged her. In the hangar, the shuttle, a battered rig nicknamed Mule, was prepped in record time. Zara, Milo, Vera, and Ilara suited up, their radiation-resistant gear patched from years of use. Milo hefted a portable scanner, grinning despite the tension. "Field trip to an alien death trap. My kind of day." Vera elbowed him, her voice dry. "Shut it, Rex. Your kind of day gets us killed." Zara checked her sidearm, a relic from Io's shipyards, and the Tazrin crystal, now pulsing faster. "Focus," she said, climbing aboard. "We get in, find what this thing wants, and get out. No heroics." The Mule launched, its engines sputtering before stabilizing. The lattice loomed closer, its jagged edges swallowing light. The Reliant watched from a distance, a lone sentinel in the dark. The shuttle docked at an opening in the lattice, a jagged gash wide enough for a frigate. No airlock, no defenses, just a tunnel of black metal stretching into nothing. Zara led the way, her boots magnetizing to the floor. The air was heavy, not with weight but intent, like the structure was aware. "Scanners," she ordered. Milo swept his device, frowning. "No life signs, no power sources, but something's moving." Vibrations, deep inside. Vera knelt, running a gloved hand over the metal. "This isn't just old, it's deliberate. Look, fractures, but no wear, like it was broken on purpose." Ilara's voice crackled over the comm. "Broken to hide something?" Zara nodded, her gut twisting. The crystal in her pocket burned now. Not hot, but alive. She didn't mention it. Not yet. They pushed deeper, the tunnel narrowing, walls pulsing with faint blue veins of energy. Symbols flickered. same as the ones on the Reliant screens, sharp and alien. Milo recorded them, muttering, "This is either a treasure trove or a death sentence." Zara ignored him, her focus on the crystal's pulse, guiding her like a compass. The Vorskan had called the array a seed. She was starting to believe it. The tunnel opened into a chamber, vast and hollow, its ceiling lost in shadow. At its center floated a platform, suspended by nothing, glowing faintly. On it, a console, or something like it, pulsed with the same blue veins. Zara stepped forward, the crystal now thrumming in her hand. "That's it," she said. "That's what called us." The air thickened, the Vorskan's voice returning, not in their heads but from the platform itself. "You seek truth." Zara froze, her team fanning out, weapons raised. "You said we're your tools," she called. "Explain." The voice was calm, like a teacher addressing a child. "You are our creation, shaped for war, humanity, Tazrin, others, forged to test strength, to refine it through conflict. The array was a key to awaken this purpose." Milo cursed under his breath. "So we're lab rats?" The platform glowed brighter, projecting images into the air. Star systems, fleets, wars spanning millennia. Humanity's history flickered. Earth's first colonies, the Pax rise, the Tazrin invasions. But older images followed, humans in primitive ships, fighting unknown enemies, their DNA marked by alien code. "You were seated," the voice said. "Your resilience, your defiance, our design, you surpassed our expectations." Elara's voice was tight. "You made us to die for you?" The voice didn't waver. "To live, to fight, to become." The Tazrin failed. They submitted. You did not. Zara's blood boiled. "We're not your experiment." She stepped onto the platform, the crystal blazing in her hand. The console reacted, symbols shifting, revealing a map, a network of Vorskan structures across the galaxy, each tied to an array like theirs. Vera's scanner beeped, her voice urgent. "Captain, the array's signal. It's broadcasting again, stronger. This place is amplifying it." Zara's eyes narrowed. "To what?" Before the voice could answer, Milo's scanner screamed. "Incoming! Tazrin's signature! Multiple ships! Closing fast!" The chamber shook, dust falling from the ceiling. The Tazrin probe hadn't been idle. It had called reinforcements. Zara grabbed the crystal, shoving it into her suit. "Back to the shuttle, now!" They ran, the lattice trembling as Tazrin warclaws breached the sector. The mule was waiting, its engines hot. Zara piloted, the shuttle lurching as graviton beams grazed its hull. "Reliant, this is Cole," she barked into the comm. "Tazrin inbound. Get ready to move." The Reliant responded, its patchwork hull glowing as the nullifier array spun up unbidden. Acting Captain Tarek, a grizzled miner-turned-officer, came over the comm. "We see him, Captain. 10 warclaws, maybe more. Array's acting up. Power spikes across the board." Zara cursed. "Hold position. We're coming in hot." The mule docked under fire, the Reliance railguns spitting defiance at the Tazrin. On the bridge, Zara took command, the crew snapping to stations. The main screen showed the Tazrin fleet, sleek, predatory, their beams lancing through the void. The lattice loomed behind, its blue veins pulsing faster, like a heart waking up. Milo's console sparked. They're not just attacking, they're targeting the array. They want it bad. Vera's hands flew over her controls, rerouting power. "The array's evolving, Captain. New systems coming online. Shields, weapons, stuff I didn't build." Zara nodded, her mind racing. The Vorskan's words echoed. "You carry our purpose." "Use it," she ordered. "If they want the array, they'll choke on it." The Reliant shuddered, its hull glowing as new weapons unfolded. Graviton claws, plasma vents, alien and deadly. The Tazrin struck, beams slamming into the Reliant's shields, now reinforced by the array's tech. The ship held, retaliating with a pulse that crushed a Warclaw's hull. But the lattice was reacting too, its veins blazing, projecting the Vorskan voice across the sector. "You are our blades. Fight and prove your worth." Zara's fist slammed her console. Shut up! Back on the Reliant, alarms blared. Another signal, this time from Seoul. Packed warships, 6 of them, dropping out of warp. Admiral Rao's face appeared on screen, his voice cold. Cole, this is HSS Dauntless. Surrender the Reliant and the Array, or we'll take it by force. Zara's eyes widened. You're siding with the Tazran now? Rao's jaw tightened. Orders, Cole. The Pact wants that tech secured. Milo snorted. Secured, my ass. They want to sell it. Zara ignored him, her voice like steel. Rao, we're fighting for Earth, not your budgets. Back off or you're next. She cut the comm, turning to Vera. Can we outrun them? Vera shook her head. Not with the array spiking. It's tied to the lattice now, pulling power we can't control. Zara's gut twisted, trapped between Tazran and Pact, with the Vorskan playing puppet master. The Tazran pressed their attack, war claws weaving in tight formations, their beams carving scars across the Reliant's hull. The ship fought back, its new weapons tearing through enemy shields. But the lattice's pulse was growing, shaking the void. Alara, monitoring from the med bay, patched through. Captain, crews reporting. Voices, not just the Vorskan, something older, in their heads. Zara clutched the Tazran crystal, now burning through her glove. What kind? Ilara's voice was steady but strained. Memories. Wars they never fought, like the Vorskans showing us what they made us for. Zara's blood ran cold. The lattice wasn't just a structure. It was a mind, a record of the Vorskans' experiments, and they were caught in its web. The packed ships closed in, firing warning shots across the Reliant's bow. Rao's voice returned, sharper. Last chance, Cole. Stand down. Zara's laugh was bitter. You want the array? Come take it. She turned to Milo. Target the lead pack ship. Disable, don't destroy. Milo grinned, keying the array's new graviton claws. Aye, Captain. Let's teach 'em manners. The Reliant fired, a claw of warped gravity shearing the packed flagship's engines. It spun, disabled but intact. The Tazran seized chaos, diving at the Reliant's flank, but the array's plasma vents answered, incinerating 2 war claws in a flash. The crew cheered, but Zara's eyes were on the lattice. Its veins were now a blinding blue, the Vorskan voice louder. You are our legacy. Fight or be erased. Vera's console sparked, her voice urgent. Captain, the array's overloading. If we don't disconnect, it'll tear us apart. Zara nodded, her mind racing. Can you reroute it? Vera's fingers flew. Maybe, but it's fighting me. It wants to stay linked to the lattice. Milo cursed. So we're stuck babysitting an alien bomb while everyone shoots at us? Zara's eyes flicked to the crystal, now glowing through her suit. The Vorskan had engineered humanity. The Tazran, this war. All of it a test. But she wasn't a tool, and her crew wasn't expendable. Ilara, get to engineering. Help Vera stabilize the array. Milo, keep the Tazran off us. We're not dying here. 37, 34. The medbay comm crackled. On my way, Captain, Ilara said, her voice calm despite the chaos. She moved through the Reliance corridors, dodging sparks and crew rushing to stations. The ship rocked, Tazran beams testing the shields. In engineering, Vera was a whirlwind, rerouting conduits, her face streaked with sweat. This thing's alive, Doc. It's rewriting its own code. Ilara knelt beside her, scanning the array's core. It's not just code, it's memory. The Vorskan built it to remember their wars, to control their creations. Vera paused, her eyes wide. You're saying it's a brain? Ilara nodded. And we woke it up. The Reliant shuddered again, a packed missile grazing its hull. The lattice's voice boomed, shaking the bones. Prove your worth or perish. On the bridge, Zara gripped her chair as the Reliant danced through Tazran fire. The packed ships held back, wary after the flagships hit, but they were still a threat. Milo's claws disabled another warclaw, but the Tazran were relentless, their numbers growing. Captain, we're burning through power, he warned. Array's draining us dry. Zara's mind raced. The Vorskan wanted a fight, the Tazrin wanted the array, and the Pact wanted control. But the Reliant was hers, and she'd be damned if anyone took it. She opened a ship-wide comm. All hands, this is Cole. The Vorskan think we're their toys. The Tazrin think we're prey. The Pact thinks we're property. We're none of those things. We're human. We fight for us. The crew roared, their defiance echoing through the ship. Vera's voice crackled from engineering. Captain, we've got a workaround. Temporary. Array's stable, but it's still linked to the lattice. We need to break that connection. Zara nodded, her eyes on the lattice's glowing veins. Then we go back in. Smaller team. We shut it down from the source. Milo spun in his chair. You're nuts, Captain. That thing's a death trap, and we've got 2 fleets breathing down our necks. Zara's smile was grim. Nuts got us this far, Rex. Prep the mule. You, me, Vera. We're ending this. The Reliant's hull glowed, the array's power surging as if it knew what was coming. The lattice pulsed, the Vorskan watching, waiting for humanity to prove itself. Or break. 40-00. Zara clutched the Tazrin crystal, its light casting shadows on the bridge. The Reliant was caught in a storm. Vorskan manipulation. Tazrin aggression. Pact betrayal. But Zara Cole hadn't survived Io's shipyards by playing safe. She'd find the lattice's heart, rip out its control, and show the galaxy what humans were made of. Not tools, not pawns, survivors. The HSS Reliant hung in the void, its patchwork hull scarred but defiant, facing the Vorskan lattice's glowing web. Captain Zara Cole stood on the bridge, the Tazrin crystal burning in her pocket, its pulse a heartbeat sinking with the nullifier array's hum. The Tazrin warclaws, 40 strong, closed in, their sleek hulls glinting like blades. The United Earth Pact's warships loomed at a distance, their warning shots a reminder of betrayal. Zara's voice was steel. Milo, Vera, mule's ready. We're going back to the lattice. Shut that thing down. Lieutenant Milo Rex, tactical officer and ex-hacker, spun from his console, his smirk barely hiding his nerves. Captain, we've got 40 Tazrin ships and Pact vultures circling. You sure now's the time for a field trip? Vera Cade, the rogue engineer, didn't look up from her controls, her voice sharp. Array's still linked to the lattice, Rex. We don't cut it. We're dead anyway. Zara nodded. We end this, or it ends us. Move. The bridge crew scrambled, hands flying over sparking consoles. The Reliance alarms blared as Tazrin graviton beams grazed its shields, the ship rocking like a boat in a storm. Acting Captain Tarek, a grizzled miner with a voice like gravel, took the helm. We'll hold 'em off, Captain. Get to that lattice. Zara clapped his shoulder, then led Milo and Vera to the hangar, their boots pounding the deck. The mule shuttle, battered but reliable, waited in the hangar, its engines hot. Zara, Milo, and Vera suited up, their radiation gear patched but functional. The Tazrin crystal pulsed faster, its light casting shadows through Zara's glove. That thing's alive, Milo muttered, eyeing it, like it knows where we're going. Zara didn't answer, her jaw tight. The Vorskan's voice, "You are our tools," echoed in her mind, fueling her defiance. The mule launched, dodging Tazrin beams as it streaked toward the lattice's gash-like opening. The Reliant fought behind them, its railguns and new array-spawned weapons, graviton claws, plasma vents. Tearing into Tazrin warclaws, the lattice loomed, its blue veins blazing. The Vorskan voice booming across the sector. Fight and prove your worth. Zara gripped the controls, her voice low. We're not your damn puppets. Inside the lattice, the tunnel was darker now, its walls pulsing with energy, symbols flickering like warnings. Zara led the way, her boots magnetized, the crystal guiding her like a beacon. Milo's scanner beeped erratically. Vibrations again, stronger. Something's waking up. Vera's voice was tense. The array's signal, it's spiking. The Reliant's feeding it power, whether we want to or not. Back on the Reliant, Tarek barked orders, the bridge a chaos of sparks and shouts. The Tazrin fleet pressed harder, their war claws weaving in lethal patterns, beams slamming the shields. The array's new weapons answered. A claw crushed a warclaw's hull, a plasma vent incinerated another, but the Tazran numbers were overwhelming. "Shields at 62%, a tech yelled. Tarek growled, "Keep firing. Cole's counting on us." In the lattice, Zara's team reached the central chamber, the floating platform now a blaze of blue light. The console pulsed, projecting images. Wars, fleets, humanity's DNA laced with Vorscan code. The voice spoke, louder, in their heads in the air. "You are our blades, forged to carve the galaxy. The Tazran, your mirror, failed us. You did not." Zara stepped onto the platform, the crystal searing her hand. "What's your plan? Why us?" The console flared, showing a network, thousands of lattices, each tied to an array spanning the galaxy. The voice was calm, relentless. "We are the Vorscan, shapers of war. You were built to fight, to die, to refine strength through chaos. Your victories prove our design. Now you will lead our armies or be erased." Milo cursed. "Armies? They want us to fight their wars forever?" Vera's scanner screamed. "Captain, the array's evolving again. New systems, weapons we can't control. It's rewriting the Reliance core." Zara's eyes narrowed. "They're turning our ship into their tool." The lattice shook, Tazran beams hitting its exterior, the chamber trembling. The voice continued, unmoved. "Submit and wield our power. Resist and perish." On the Reliant, the array's evolution surged. Consoles sparked, new weapons unfolding. Disruptor lances, void shields, alien and precise. Tarek's eyes widened as a lance fired, slicing a warclaw in half. "What the hell?" a tech, Ensign Lyra shouted. "It's not us! The array's fighting on its own!" The ship glowed, its hull reshaping, smoother, stronger, like a beast shedding its skin. Dr. Alora Finn in engineering worked beside Vera's team, her scanner on the array's core. "It's not just weapons," she said, voice steady despite the chaos. "It's integrating with the ship, rewriting navigation, life support. It's like the Vorscan want to pilot us." A tech, Jiro, paled. "Can we stop it?" Alara shook her head. "Not without blowing the core, and that'd take us with it." The Reliant rocked, Tazran beams breaching the shields, scarring the hull. Tarek redirected power, the new void shields absorbing hits. But the Tazran were relentless, their numbers swelling to 50. Packed ships fired warning shots, Admiral Rao's voice crackling. "Cole, surrender now, or we'll board." Tarek ignored it, focusing on survival. "Keep those claws firing. Buy the captain time." In the lattice, Zara faced the console, the crystal now a miniature star in her hand. "You made us to fight," she said, voice like iron. "But we choose who we fight for, not you." The voice paused, then answered. "You cannot choose. Your purpose is war. Lead our fleets, or we awaken the others. Billions of arrays, buried in your worlds, ready to burn." Milo's scanner blipped. "Captain, Tazran are inside the lattice. Breach teams, moving fast." Footsteps echoed, metallic and sharp. Zara drew her sidearm, the old Io relic steady in her grip. "Vera, can you hack the console? Break the array's link?" Vera knelt, plugging her portable rig into the platform. "Trying, but it's fighting me. This thing's got a mind of its own." Tazran drones, sleek, spider-like, scuttled into the chamber, their lasers cutting the air. Zara fired, her rounds sparking off their armor. Milo tossed a pulse grenade, frying 3 drones, but more poured in. Vera worked, sweat beading on her brow. "Almost got it. Need 30 seconds. Zara shoved Milo behind cover. "We don't have 30. Keep 'em off her." The Reliance Bridge was a war zone, consoles sparking, crews shouting. The array's lances fired without input, carving through Tazran warclaws, but the enemy adapted, their beams targeting weak points. "Shields at 41%, Lyra yelled. Tarek's voice was grim. "Reroute everything to weapons. If we go down, we take 'em with us." The ship glowed brighter, the array's power surging, reshaping its hull into something alien. In the lattice, Zara and Milo fought back to back, her pistol and his carbine holding the drones at bay. Vera's rig beeped, her voice triumphant. Got it! Link's weakening, but the array's still fighting. The console flared, the Vorskan voice booming. You cannot sever us, you are ours. Zara shot a drone, her eyes on the console. Watch us. The chamber shook. Tazran beams hitting the lattice, cracks spreading. The voice grew sharper. Your worlds hide our seeds, arrays in every colony, every ship. Resist and they awaken, submit and lead. Zara's blood boiled. You built us to fight, but you didn't build us to kneel. Oh, she slammed the crystal into the console, its light exploding, symbols cascading like a dying star. 48, 33. On the Reliant, the array spasmed, its weapons firing wildly, shredding 5 warclaws in seconds. But the ship paid a price. Hull breaches on decks 7 and 9, air hissing into the void. Ilara sealed engineering, her voice calm. Crew's stable, but we're losing integrity. We need coal back. Tarek nodded, redirecting power to shields, praying Zara's team would make it. The lattice chamber glowed, the console's light fading as Vera's hack took hold. The Vorskan voice weakened. You defy us, but you cannot escape purpose. Tazran drones surged, forcing Zara's team back. Milo took a laser graze, cursing but standing. Captain, we gotta go. Zara grabbed Vera, dragging her from the console. Did it work? Vera nodded, panting. Link's cut, but the array's still active. It's learning. The mule was a wreck when they reached it, its hull scorched. Zara piloted, dodging debris as the lattice crumbled. Tazran beams tearing it apart. The Reliant loomed ahead, its evolved hull now sleek, alien, glowing with array power. The shuttle docked under fire, the hangar sealing just as a Tazran beam grazed the ship. Zara sprinted to the bridge, Tarek stepping aside. Welcome back, Captain. We're in deep. The main screen showed chaos, 42 Tazran warclaws, packed ships closing in. The array's weapons fired autonomously, lances and claws ripping through enemies. But the Reliant was battered, its hull leaking. Zara took the chair, her voice steady. Status? Tarek grimaced. Shields at 28%. Array's running the show, but it's draining us. Pax prepping boarding craft. Milo, blood seeping through his sleeve, manned his console. Tazran are focusing on the array. Surgical strikes. They know it's the key. Vyra, still clutching her rig, patched in. It's more than a key now. It's a brain, adapting, fighting for the Vorskan. We cut the lattice link, but it's got its own plans. Zara's eyes narrowed. Then we fight smarter. The Vorskan voice crackled through the comm, faint but persistent. You cannot deny us. Your purpose is war. Lead or burn. Zara muted it, her voice rising. All hands, this is Cole. The Vorskan built us as weapons. The Tazran want us dead. The Pact wants us caged. We're none of those. We're human. We fight for us. Target everything. Give 'em hell. The crew roared, their defiance a pulse through the ship. The Reliance array weapons surged, disruptor lances carving warclaws, void shields deflecting beams. But the Tazran adapted, their ships splitting into smaller, faster formations. Packed boarding craft launched, aiming for the hangar. Tarek redirected claws to intercept, crushing 2 craft, but 3 docked, Marines breaching the lower decks. Zara opened a ship-wide comm. Security teams, repel boarders. Engineering, keep the array stable. Ilara's voice came from the medbay. Captain, crew's hearing the Vorskan. Visions of wars, not ours. It's messing with their heads. Zara clutched the crystal, now dim but warm. Block it out. Focus on the fight. Her own head throbbed, images of alien battles flashing. Vorskan wars, humanity's blood spilled for them. In engineering, Ilara and Vera worked, the array's core glowing like a trapped sun. It's rewriting itself, Vera said, her voice strained, trying to reconnect to the Vorskan network. Ilara scanned it, her face grim. It's not just tech, it's a mind, carrying their orders. We destroy it, we lose the ship. Vera's eyes met hers. And if we don't? The Reliant shook, a Tazaran beam breaching Deck 5. Security teams clashed with packed Marines, gunfire echoing through corridors. The array's lances fired, shredding another Warclaw. But the Tazaran pressed closer, their beams targeting the array's core. Milo's console sparked. We're down to 19% shields, Captain. We can't keep this up. Zara's mind raced. The Vorskan wanted slaves. The Tazaran wanted destruction. The Pact wanted control. But her crew, her family, was fighting for survival. She turned to Tarek. Can we pull a pulse like Saul? Tarek shook his head. Array's too unstable. It'd tear us apart. Vera patched in. Captain, I can redirect the array's power. One last shot, but it'll fry half our systems. Do it, Zara ordered. Milo, target the Tazaran flagship. End this. The Reliant glowed, the array's core screaming as Vera rerouted power. The ship fired, a massive pulse, not chaos, but precision, a lance of pure disruption. The Tazaran flagship imploded, its debris scattering the fleet. The remaining Warclaws hesitated, then retreated, their formation broken. The packed ships paused, Rao's voice crackling. Cole, impressive. Surrender now, and we'll talk terms. Zara's laugh was cold. Terms? You sold us out. Get off my ship. She cut the comm, turning to the crew. Status? Milo grimaced. Shields at 12%. Boarders on deck 3. Arrays fried. New weapons are offline. Tarek added, Packs regrouping. They'll board again. In the mess hall, the crew gathered, battered but alive, security teams dragging bound packed Marines. Ilara addressed the crowd, her voice steady. The Vorskan built us to fight their wars. The array's their leash. We keep it, theirs. We destroy it. We lose the Reliant. Jiro, the tech, stood. Lose the ship? After all this? A gunner? Mara snapped. Better than being slaves. Milo leaned against a wall, his arm bandaged. I'm with Zara. She got us this far. But we're trapped. Vorskan, Tazaran, Pact. What's loyalty worth if we're dead? Vera's voice was fierce. Freedom's worth it. We didn't fight to trade one master for another. Tarek, older, calmer, spoke. The Reliant's home. We lose it, we lose us. Can we find another way? Zara stood, her presence silencing the room. The Vorskan think we're tools. The Tazaran think we're prey. The Pact thinks we're property. They're all wrong. We're human, messy, stubborn, free. The array's a chain, but the Reliant's ours. We destroy the array, we might lose the ship. But we keep fighting, we lose ourselves. Your call, the crew murmured, faces torn. Ilara stepped forward. I've seen what control does, chains you tighter than any cell. I say we break it. Mara nodded. Burn the array, we'll find another ship. Jiro hesitated, then sighed. I'm in, but it hurts. Tarek's voice was low. For the crew, not the Vorskan. I'm with you, Captain. Milo grinned. Hell, let's go out swinging. Zara's chest tightened. They weren't just her crew, they were her family forged in fire. All right, she said. Vera, prep the array for overload. Ilara, get the wounded to pods. Tarek, hold the bridge. We're ending this. The crew dispersed, purpose in their steps. Even as the Reliant groaned, packed boarding craft docking again, Tazaran regrouping in the distance. 56:39. In engineering, Vera and Ilara worked, the array's core now a pulsing wound of light. Overload set, Vera said, her voice steady, but we'll need to launch it. Neutron star, like you planned. Ilara nodded, sealing the core's pod. Crew's ready to evac. We're with you, Captain. The ship rocked, a packed breacher exploding nearby, security teams holding the line. On the bridge, Zara watched the screen. Packed ships closing, Tazaran rallying for another strike. The Vorskan voice crackled, weaker now. You cannot escape purpose. You are war. Zara's smile was grim. We're more than that. She opened a comm to the crew. All hands prep for evac. We're blowing the array, taking our freedom. Move. Milo's console sparked, his voice tight. Pack Marines in the hangar. Tazran launching drones. Tarek redirected the last of the array's power, the void shields flickering. The Reliant fired a final lance, disabling a pack craft, but the ship was dying. Its hull breached, air leaking. Zara clutched the crystal, its light fading. Vera, status? Pods ready, Vera replied from engineering. Launch in 60 seconds. Get to a pod, Captain. Zara shook her head, though no one saw. I'm staying till it's done. Tarek's voice was firm. Not alone, Captain. We hold the bridge. Milo nodded, his smirk back. Gotta see this through, right? The crew's loyalty hit Zara like a wave. She didn't deserve them, but she'd die for them. 58-27. The Reliance hangar opened, the array's pod launching toward the neutron star, its light a beacon in the void. Tazran drones swarmed, but the ship's last claws swatted them down. Pack Marines breached the bridge deck, gunfire echoing. Zara drew her sidearm, Tarek and Milo at her side, their faces set. For the crew, Zara said, firing as the pod neared the star. The pod detonated, a silent flash swallowing the array's signal. The Vorskan voice screamed, then died. The Reliance shuddered, its systems failing, the evolved weapons going dark. The lattice flickered, its veins dimming, as if the Vorskan had lost their grip. Tazran warclaws retreated, confused, their purpose unclear. Packed Marines froze, their comms buzzing with retreat orders. Zara lowered her weapon, the bridge a wreck, Tarek and Milo bleeding but standing. It's done, she said, voice hoarse. The crystal was cold now, just a rock. The Reliant was a husk, its soul and the crew fleeing in pods. Zara opened a final comm. All hands, you're free. Scatter. Live. Tarek's eyes met hers. What about you, Captain? She smiled, tired but fierce. I've got one more trick. The packed ships closed, boarding craft docking. Zara wiped the Reliance logs, leaving static. She slipped into a maintenance shaft, the crystal in her pocket, her crew's faces in her mind. The Reliant groaned, a final goodbye. The galaxy had mocked them, but they'd broken the chains. Vorskan, Tazran, packed. Humanity wasn't a tool. It was a fire, and Zara would keep it burning. In the void, escape pods scattered, 184 souls vanishing into the fringes. The Reliant sat silent, a trophy for the packed, but empty. Zara moved through the shadows, a salvage rat to the end, knowing the fight wasn't over. The Vorskan were out there watching. So were the Tazran. And humanity? It was just getting started. The HSS Reliance Bridge was a graveyard of sparking consoles and shattered screens, the air thick with smoke and the tang of burnt circuits. Captain Zara Cole stood firm, her IO-made sidearms smoking, flanked by acting Captain Tarek and Lieutenant Milo Rex. Both bloodied but unbowed. Packed Marines breached the corridor outside, their boots clanging, while the Tazran fleet retreated, their warclaws scattering after the nullifier array's pod detonated in the neutron star. The Vorskan's voice was gone, its lattice dim, but the fight wasn't over. Zara's eyes flicked to the main screen, now cracked, showing the neutron star's glow where the array's core had burned out. The Tazran crystal in her pocket was cold, just a rock now, its pulse snuffed with the Vorskan's control. It's done, she said, voice hoarse, her chest tight with the weight of it. The Reliant groaned, its hull breached, air hissing from a dozen wounds. Tarek's gravelly voice broke the silence. Crews in pods, Captain. They're away. Milo, his arm bandaged, leaned against his console, his smirk faint but stubborn. Tazran's running, Vorskan's quiet. Pack's still knocking, though. Gunfire echoed closer, packed Marines cutting through the blast doors. Zara's jaw tightened. They want the ship. They can have a husk. We're not their prize. She tapped her comm, voice steady. All hands, this is Cole. You're free. Stay low. Live long. Out. The Reliance lights flickered, its evolved weapons, disruptor lances, void shields. Dead without the array. The ship was just a shell now, its soul and the 184 crew members fleeing in escape pods to the fringes. Zara pictured them. Milo's quips, Vera Cade's fierce focus, Elara Finn's quiet strength, Tarek's steady hand. They'd fought for her, for each other, not for the Vorskan or the Pact. She didn't deserve them, but she'd die for them. 61:48. Tarek checked his carbine, his weathered face set. "What's the play, Captain? We can't hold the bridge long." Milo snorted, wincing as he shifted his arm. "Yeah, unless you've got another alien bomb up your sleeve." Zara's smile was grim, her eyes on a maintenance hatch in the corner. "We don't hold, we vanish. Ships wiped, logs, nav, all static. They get nothing but scrap." The blast doors buckled, packed Marines shouting orders. Zara grabbed a datapad, uploading a final message to the Pact's network. "This is Zara Cole, HSS Reliant. You wanted our ship? Take it. You wanted our weapon? It's ash. You wanted us? Too late." She smashed the pad, sparks flying, and nodded to the hatch. "Move." Tarek hesitated, his eyes heavy. "You first, Captain." Zara shook her head. "I'm last, always." Milo grinned, despite the pain. "Stubborn to the end, huh? All right, old man, let's go." He clapped Tarek's shoulder, and they crawled into the hatch, Zara covering their retreat with her sidearm. The Marines breached, their lasers cutting the air. But Zara was already gone, slipping into the Reliant's guts like the salvage rat she'd always been. 63:09. The maintenance shafts were a maze of conduits and coolant leaks, the ship's death throes shaking the walls. Zara moved fast, her breath fogging her visor, the crystal heavy in her pocket. She'd destroyed the array, broken the Vorskan's leash, but the galaxy wasn't done. The Pact would hunt her crew, the Tazran would regroup, and the Vorskan, silent now, were still out there, watching. Tarek's voice crackled over her comm, faint through static. "We're at the pod bay, Captain. One left. Where are you?" Zara ducked under a sparking panel, her voice low. "Behind you. Keep it hot." Gunfire echoed above, Marines searching the decks. The Reliant's hull screamed, a Pact breacher tearing into its flank. Zara's chest ached. This ship was home, but freedom cost more than steel. She reached the pod bay, a cramped chamber littered with debris. Tarek and Milo waited by the last pod, its hatch open, engines humming. Milo's face was pale, blood seeping through his bandage, but he managed a grin. "Took your time, Captain." Tarek's eyes were hard, scanning the corridor. "Marines are close. We gotta go." Zara nodded, climbing in. "Then let's not be here." The pod launched, the Reliant shrinking in the rear viewport, a battered giant surrounded by packed ships. Escape pods scattered like fireflies, vanishing into the void. Zara piloted, her hands steady, aiming for a fringe route she'd memorized years ago in EO's smuggling days. Tarek watched the sensors. "No pursuit yet. Pact's too busy claiming their trophy." Milo coughed, wincing. "Yeah, a trophy that's gonna rust." Zara's voice was soft but firm. "They'll hunt us. Pact, Tazran, maybe the Vorskan." "You two ready for that?" Tarek's laugh was rough. "Been running since I was a kid in the mines." "This ain't new." Milo leaned back, the eyes half closed. "Long as I've got a console to hack, I'm good. You sticking with us, Captain?" Zara didn't answer, her gaze on the stars, the crystal's weight a reminder of unfinished fights. The pod hit a dead zone, sensors clear, and Zara set it to drift, cloaking its signal. They'd rendezvous with others later, Vera, Elara, the rest. But for now, it was just them. Tarek broke the silence. "The Vorskan said there's more arrays buried in our worlds. You think they'll wake them?" Zara's jaw tightened. "If they do, we'll break those too." Milo's voice was weak but sharp. "Big talk for a salvage rat. What's next, Captain? We can't go back to Earth." Zara's eyes flicked to the crystal, now dull but heavy with secrets. "We don't go back. We go forward. Fringes, black markets, anywhere the Pact can't touch. There's a signal out there. Faint, not Vorskan. I heard it when the array died. We find it. Tarek raised an eyebrow. Another fight? Zara's smile was tired but fierce. Always. We're human. Fighting's what we do. The pod drifted, stars stretching into infinity. The Reliant was gone, claimed by the Pact, but its crew lived. Ghosts in the void. Zara's defiance had burned the Vorskon's leash, but the galaxy was wide, and trouble was never far. 3 months later, a woman in a hooded jacket traded reactor coils for water on a dusty fringe moon, her eyes sharp under the brim. No name, no past, just a quiet barter and a quick exit. The locals called her a drifter, but her walk was too sure, her gaze too heavy. The Tazran crystal hung in a pouch at her side, cold but not dead, catching faint hums in the dark. 67:12. The galaxy buzzed with stories. The Reliance miracle, the fleet killer that vanished. The Pact paraded the ship's husk, claiming victory, but whispers spread. The crew was out there, free, unbroken. Tazran raids slowed, their war claws wary, as if sensing a shift. The Vorskan were silent, their lattices dark, but their eyes lingered, waiting for humanity's next move. On the moon, the woman paused at a comm relay, hacking its signal with a device patched from scraps. A faint hum answered, not Vorskan, not Tazran, something older, buried in the void. She didn't flinch, didn't smile, just memorized the frequency and moved on. The galaxy had mocked humanity, called the Reliant a joke. It wouldn't make that mistake again. Milo surfaced on a trade station, hacking black market deals, his arms scarred but functional. Vera built rigs in a hidden shipyard, her eyes scanning for Pact spies. Ilara patched wounds in a refugee camp, her silence a shield. Tarek ran supplies, his gruff voice rallying stragglers. They didn't speak of the Reliant, but they carried its fire, their loyalty to Zara a quiet vow. The woman, Zara, though she never said it, boarded a freighter, its captain asking no questions. The crystal hummed, faint but persistent, pointing to a dead sector. She didn't know what waited, a new threat, a new fight, but she'd face it. The Vorskan had built humanity for war, but they'd missed something. Humans didn't just fight. They endured, adapted, defied. The freighter warped, stars blurring, the moon fading behind. The galaxy was a tinderbox, Pact corruption, Tazran hunger, Vorskan schemes. Zara's crew was scattered, but not broken, their paths crisscrossing the void. They'd find each other again when the time came. For now they were shadows, carrying the Reliance legacy in their bones. The Pact's reports claimed the Reliant affair closed, the array lost, the crew dead or fled. But whispers grew. Signals from nowhere, ships vanishing, fringe worlds arming. The Tazran tightened their borders, their sensors scanning for ghosts. The Vorskan's silence wasn't peace, it was calculation. A predator waiting for its moment. Zara sat in the freighter's hold, the crystal in her hand, its hum a faint pulse. The signal she'd caught wasn't just noise. It was a call, a challenge, maybe a warning. She didn't care which. The Reliant was gone, but its fight lived in her crew, in every human who'd ever been underestimated. The galaxy thought it knew them. It was wrong. On a distant station, a kid traded a story for a meal. A ship that broke the stars. A captain who laughed at gods. The tale spread, growing sharper, fiercer. The Reliant wasn't just a ship, it was a spark, igniting fringe worlds, miners, drifters. Humanity wasn't the Vorskan's tool, the Tazran's prey, or the Pact's pawn. It was a storm, and it was coming. The freighter dropped Zara on a scrap world, its skies red with dust. She vanished into the market, her hood low, the crystal's hum guiding her. A new signal flickered, stronger now, from a sector marked dead on every chart. She didn't look back. The galaxy had tried to chain her, break her, mock her. It failed. Zarakol was free, and freedom meant fighting. The cruise pods had scattered to 100 worlds, their names erased, their lives rebuilt. But they listened, watched. waited. Milo hacked a packed relay, catching Zara's signal. Vera built a new rig, its core humming like the Reliance. Ilara saved a kid who'd heard the story, her eyes distant. Tarek smuggled parts, whispering of a captain who'd return. The galaxy turned, its empires blind to the fire spreading in the shadows. The Vorskon's arrays lay dormant, but not dead. The Tazrans sharpened their claws, the pack tightened their grip. Zara walked alone, but not forever. The Reliance crew would rise again, not as tools, but as humans. Messy, stubborn, unstoppable. Zara stood on a cliff, the scrap world's wind tearing at her hood, the crystal glowing faintly. The signal was clear now, a beacon in the void. She didn't know what it held, war, truth, or something worse, but she'd find it. The galaxy had mocked humanity once, called them weak, called them nothing. It would learn. Zara Cole was coming, and she wasn't alone.